Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you guys. So, what have you decided then? Are you voting for Labour or are you voting for Conservative? You see, what we have in the UK is a voting system known as first past the post. Historically, one of them two parties has been in power. Essentially, you think a democracy is something that can't be fiddled. The people get their voice and so forth, but it's not true. If another country was to come in and say interfere with British politics, what they would essentially have to do is they wouldn't have to focus on all the different parties in the country. They'd only focus on them two parties, Labour and Conservative. How you can tell that Britain has got a foreign country meddling with British politics is if you look at the Friends of Israel Zionist lobbies. These lobbies have basically infiltrated the two major parties in the UK. Watch this.
Tonight on Dispatches, how British policy is influenced by supporters of a foreign power. Dispatches reveals the activities of the most effective lobby working inside British political parties.
The pro-Israeli lobby is the most powerful political lobby. There's nothing to touch them.
We investigate the Israel lobby's bankrolling of British politicians.
I don't believe, and I don't think anybody else would believe, that these contributions come with no strings attached.
The Israeli invasion of Gaza earlier this year caused huge controversy. A few months later, the Conservative Friends of Israel held its annual lunch for Conservative politicians and businessmen. This year, the star speaker was David Cameron. I was astonished to note that he made no reference to the widespread killing of innocent civilians and massive destruction in Gaza 6 months earlier. Indeed, Cameron went out of his way to praise Israel because, so he said, it strives to protect innocent life. If I become Prime Minister, Israel has a friend who will never turn his back on Israel. To ask questions. How does the pro-Israel lobby in Britain work? Who runs it? And how does it get results? There's a powerful presence in all the main parties. Look at this recent exchange in the House of Commons when David Amess, Secretary of the Conservative Friends of Israel, asked what the government was doing to improve British relations with Israel. Ivan Lewis, the Foreign Office Minister who had been Deputy Chair of the Labour Friends of Israel, replied.
Israel is a close ally of the UK, and we have regular, warm and productive exchanges at all levels. We shall continue to foster a close relationship with Israel.
They were very strongly supportive of Israel, yes. And you know, the Conservative Friends of Israel, the Labour Friends of Israel are all part of that.
Yes, there is a pro-Israeli lobby, and it's active in trying to define the debate in order to limit the options that British politicians can choose to options which would be acceptable to that lobby.
So how does the lobby work? Money plays a big part. Millions of pounds in donations from businessmen and others into the bank accounts of politicians and political parties. Is one of Westminster's most active lobbying groups. It claims as its members 80% of all Conservative members of Parliament.
Now, with the general elections coming up very soon, who will you be voting for? Will you be voting for the Friends of Israel Labour Party or the Friends of Israel Conservative Party? Just to disrupt things this year, I'm going to tell them both to fuck off. And I'm going to vote an independent party just to disrupt the system, just to see what happens. And it's not out of spite, it's just as a protest to the genocide that is happening right now.